Okay. So I want to thank you for attending, guys. We had about 35 people who signed up, and we have six, and that's the people here, the people who are supposed to be here at this perfect timing. I truly believe that everything unfolds in perfect timing in order for our highest good while we continue to practice the qualities of patience, compassion, and trust. And that's very important. Um, Holistic Wellcare Advisors was created to be like a one-stop shop for people to come and get some information regarding holistic services. I have a website called Holistic Wellcare Advisors, and I'm certified in positive psychology, integrative nutrition, transformational mindset work, also yoga instructor. I created two brands. One is called Yomenga, which is a word meant in between the word yoga and Holistic Wellcare Advisors. I invite guest speakers in the holistic space to come on and do presentations to promote themselves as well. So people could have this information. And if somebody attends a certain meeting and maybe a month from now, they run into somebody who basically requires a service that you attended a meeting. Well, this is the one-stop shop where you could come back and get the information from that practitioner since they promoted themselves and hopefully get the services that they need. So that's one of the main reasons why I really created this, besides, having this link to my website so people could come to see live events and be able to get, some very useful information in the holistic space. As we know, traditional medicine is definitely needed. We need traditional medicine for trauma care and a lot of things, but we do fall short when it comes to solving root cause issues. And we're starting to, I think, turn the corner on really adopting a lot of holistic approaches, such as osteopath, homeopathic, Ayurvedic, Reiki, energy work. We're starting to come to a different understanding of how these things can really help our mind, body, and spirit. One of the things that I'm really passionate about is the gut microbiome, because the gut is your second brain along with your heart, your brain, and they are connected. So if your gut is off, your brain is off, and vice versa. So this is one of the main reasons why I'm so passionate about getting this information out there, because I was somebody who suffered from stomach issues my whole life and went the traditional route and finally found functional medicine and healed some things like leaky gut that I was mimicking a lot of symptoms that would be autoimmune diseases, where, again, traditional medicine wants to give you just drugs in order to help with your issue. And it's just the way that we've been taught. It's neither bad nor good. It just is what it is. So it's up to us as consumers to be able to do our due diligence and find alternative ways. We have to take responsibility. So I just want to commend you again for being here and wanting to learn these different topics. So I'm going to go with that and share my screen, and we are going to kick this shindig off. Okay. All right. So I am going to start from the beginning. I hope that you guys can see this. Ingrid, can you give me a thumbs up if you could see this, the screen? That way I know before, okay, good. Before I start going, then that's not, people are muted. They can't tell me that it's screwed up. All right. So I always start off with the disclaimer because I think it's important. I am a certified coach and in integrative nutrition and also transformational mindset and positive psychology. And I want in no way this to be construed or substituted as psychological counseling or any type of therapy or medical advice. My comments about the material are backed by scientific evidence, life experience, and expressions of my opinion. Each participant's results depend upon his or her unique learning ability, motivation, commitment, and other factors. When you participate in these virtual personal development events, you fully agree that there are no guarantees as far as specific outcomes or results you can expect from using the information you receive on or through this event. Okay. So we're here to talk about purpose. Okay. And what is purpose? So purpose is an overall sense of goals and direction in life and leads to the productive engagement with some aspect of the world beyond the self. And notice that this is an action word, right? You need to kind of take steps and try certain things in order to, see what is my purpose? What special talents do I have that I was brought to this earth, because everybody has a purpose. I truly believe, I'm very spiritual, that this is an earth school. And you see people who are really, who are born into this world with disabilities, and I think those are the PhDs, right? Those are the people who like are really taking on the hard educational whatever missions they need to learn. And then other people, like I would consider myself, I had a pretty hard upbringing, but I would say I probably started in like first grade. So, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Even when I graduated high school, I didn't know what my purpose was. I always had a sense that I was capable of so much more. And I think each of us has like an inherent ability to, understand when we're by ourselves, maybe brushing our teeth, having a little conversation with ourselves, to know what we really want to do and what we should do. And unfortunately, we have other factors that come into our lives based on beliefs and other things that we've learned from when we were kids, that sometimes we don't listen to our true authentic selves, right? And it takes time to, and work. Again, it's an action step to be able to go on the path of self-discovery in order to find what your true purpose is and what you're here to do. What special gifts do you have? Because you're here for a reason. There's some reason, and you're meant to be here, right? Um, you are supposed to contribute to the world. Okay. So your purpose is always beginning with the word to. So what are we supposed to do, right? Are we here to create? Are we here to teach? Are we here to invent? Are we here to heal? Are we here to inspire? It could be more than one of these things, it could be one, it could be three, it could be all of them, right? It's important. It's also important to understand too that sometimes when you're trying to find your purpose in life, it could also be detrimental because you're putting too much pressure on yourself. So there's a good part of trying to find your purpose, but there's also a not so good part, because we could basically cause ourselves to become perfectionists, and that's not really good when we become perfectionists, because the opposite of being a perfectionist, I believe, is the antidote for perfection. And perfectionism is learning to love yourself, which bakes in a lot of self-compassion and self-care. So it's sometimes we have to put down, not be so hard on ourselves, and surrender and learn things like meditation, breathing exercises, things to quiet our minds, to quiet our souls, so we could be able to listen to the things we're supposed to listen with our true authentic selves. Okay. This is kind of what I believe, that this is kind of like a meat suit that we have here. And because, through science, we know that we have this, I mentioned earlier about the microbiome. We have more bacteria in our body than we do cells. We're energetic beings. Like when somebody has a heart attack, what do? When the heart stops, they use electricity to start your heart again. So we have this bundle branch system. So we have this symbiotic relationship, which I truly believe that this is kind of like a meat suit or a uniform that we put on in order to traverse this physical world that we're living in. Okay. So we're here to talk about, hedonic versus eudaimonic well-being. And this is really important in finding your purpose. These are two topics that most people have never heard of or were never taught. I didn't know these terms until I got my certification in positive psychology, whereas, positive psychology is the study of human flourishing. Most people don't even never heard of positive psychology or don't know what it is, but it's a really useful thing to learn, because it introduces you to a lot of concepts, tools, skill sets that, again, if we were to learn these at an earlier age, maybe in our late teens, early 20s, we would have made much different decisions in what we were here to do, what we're here to, what's our purpose in order to, live a flourishing life and contribute to society. So hedonic versus eudaimonic well-being is the difference is hedonic well-being. It refers to the sort of pleasure or happiness that we derive from doing what we like or avoid doing what we do not like. The most common examples of hedonic pleasure are sex and food. Eudaimonic well-being, the subjective experiences associated with living a life of virtue and pursuit of human excellence, self-actualization, personal expressiveness, and vitality. So, hedonic is more materialistic, something that is materialistic that brings us temporary pleasure. Now, we both have to have hedonic and eudaimonic well-being, but the important one is to really develop eudaimonic well-being, because that's, life is a struggle, right? Life can be, it's your perspective on how you see life. When the shit hits the fan, right, in one area of your life, like when I coach people, I give them a wheel of life and I ask them to rate their life, their each different, like it's kind of like a spoke in a wheel or a pizza pie. One could be business, one could be relationships, one could be spirituality, and one could be, any. And if you're in relationships, for instance, and you experience a breakup, you could be at a 9 for like a long time in your relationship, and then you start going downhill where it becomes an 8, a 7, a 6, and then eventually you wind up breaking up and you go down to a 3. Well, when that happens, if you don't have any, if that relationship, which, is kind of like a hedonic, materialistic thing in a way, having another human to make you happy, of course you're going to feel sadness for the breakup, because that's a normal human emotion. The important thing is not to get stuck in sadness and build yourself up. And that's where the eudaimonic well-being comes in, and your purpose in life, right, is able to help you bounce back quicker from a 3 and get you back into a 7 by using your past experiences, past relationships, knowing that you've gone through certain experiences, knowing that you truly love yourself because you associate living life with the virtue and pursuit of human excellence, self-actualization. You're able to communicate your feelings, and you truly love yourself. You're taking care of yourself spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, and physically. So when these things, this is like really important to build this eudaimonic muscle. Okay. Sources of purpose. Basically want to explore your passions. So there's different passions that people have. Some people could be, we don't want to confuse passions with purpose though, because some people could be, could mistake like, oh, I am an artist and they love painting and that's a passion, but really it's more of a hobby, and that's not their real purpose. It could be something else, could be their purpose, right? So it could be something that's involved with that, but it may not be, oh, my purpose is that I'm going to make beautiful art and I'm going to sell it for $50 million and I'm going to be the richest person in the world. No, it may be, oh, my purpose in life or my passion by painting these paintings is to basically paint such these things because I have a unique niche where I could paint these certain sceneries that are specific to certain groups of people that makes them happy. And you may not make $1 million, but you make a good living doing that, right? So that's part of your purpose, is somehow tied. Your passions can be tied to your purpose, but they also could not be. So your passions and interests are a good indicator of where and which your life purpose might lie, but they still can be hard to identify. They're so ingrained in our ways of thinking that we can become blind to them. If you're not sure what your passions are, ask the people who know you best. Some of the ways that you could do that is through volunteer work, spirituality. If you're, religious, and you belong to like church, and, I'm never going to knock religion. I'm not a religious person myself, but I'm more spiritual. So, but still there's, I think religion has its good and has its not so good things. And that's just my own opinion. You have work that could be a source of purpose. And I'm sure you could think of other things that could be a source of a passion, things that you could do to find what you're passionate about. Okay. Discerning your purpose. Most will look to receive the answers from an outside source. Okay. So what we really need to do is, again, what was when I first put on the slide when we started this presentation, it's an action step, right? Do what makes you happy, the rest will follow. For some, it's inspiring. For others, it's confusing. Without purpose, people often feel lost, stuck, depressed, and anxious. Why is purpose so powerful? It's the why, right? Some people just go about life and they never really find their true purpose, which is kind of sad. And maybe that the reason why that is because they're trying to control things so much that they're not allowing, things to unfold the way that they're supposed to. Or there's other things that may be involved in it with your belief system where they may feel, they may feel like, there's terms called growth versus fixed mindset. When you have a fixed mindset, you feel like you are somebody who is just fixed. This is who you are. You can never change. You can never learn new things. That's just the way it is. Unfortunately, that's not the right way to go. That's like a rock. A rock doesn't change. Having a growth mindset is where you're like clay. You could sculpt clay into a beautiful masterpiece, right? And some people will have, based on some of their belief systems, such as I'm not good enough, what's wrong with me, I did something wrong, why don't people like me, and fear the unknown, based on having fear of the unknown and taking risks and trying new things instead of living life from a curiosity point of view. It prevents them from pursuing certain things, pursuing their purpose, and finding what that why is. So finding your purpose, what does it take? It's a combination of different things between strengths and experiences. For instance, it's what you love. We talked about, I gave that example of painting, right? As a hobby, could be a particular hobby. What you do, the skills that you have, right? How you shine, and your wisdom, and also your values. What do you value? Really important to understand like what your value system is and come up with your own values. We have a tendency to, we're kind of almost brainwashed and programmed into thinking that life is supposed to go a certain way. I was even brainwashed that way. Oh, you're supposed to, you have to go to school, go to college, get in a relationship, get married, have kids, and that's the way you have then become a uh, grandfather or grandmother, and then your life is done. No, like, you have, based on your values and things that you've learned, okay, over your lifetime, you come to a point in your life where you say, if I'm not happy and I'm not finding my purpose, maybe I need to pivot and unlearn the things that I thought were the right things that people taught to me, and maybe go back and learn the things that I should have learned, the concepts and tools. And it's not about placing blame, it's about taking responsibility as an adult for wanting to change, for wanting to find your purpose. And it's never too late to do it. Well, if you're probably 90 years old and you're on your deathbed, it's probably too late. But you know what I mean. It's like you always have a choice to go in and learn something new, to explore, to find out something that you never knew before. And I think it's important to, if you're spiraling down the rabbit hole of not finding your purpose, or there's something that's off where you're waking up every day and you're feeling like crap, that's your body. There's something that is triggering you, your soul, that something is off. And that's where the fear comes in, where you need to like say, okay, how am I going to face this fear? How am I really going to, look in the mirror and say, hey, I'm capable of so much more. I'm here for a reason. I need to ask for help. And that's a very hard step to do, especially in today's society, because people will judge you. You may have grown up in a family where people judge you. You might grow up in a family where people like are just mean, and and you might have to learn to cut them off because you have to go your own route, and it's a very difficult situation. But part of finding your purpose is putting yourself first. What is your priorities in life? What is your mission in life? And then how are you going to, your third thing is, how are you going to incorporate your relationships into those first two priorities? Because if you can't take care of number one priority, which is taking care of yourself physically, emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually, you're not going to live a flourishing life. You're going to be miserable, and you're also not going to be happy for other people. Secondly, if you're not doing what you love, or at least trying to pursue and do something that you like, you're not going to be happy. And what's going to happen is the third priority of your relationships are going to suffer. And that's not, fair to you or fair to anybody else. I mean, you're not really being a great example, especially to, like, if you have your kids. Like, I try and, we got to remember that the way that we present ourselves around society and around people is people are looking at us. We emit energy. People can feel our energy. So it's important to really take care of ourselves. Okay. Logotherapeutic approach. I'm sure most people haven't heard of this particular thing, but logotherapy is a therapeutic approach that helps people find personal meaning in life. It's a form of psychotherapy that is focused on the future and our ability to endure hardship and suffering through a search for purpose. Okay. A gentleman by the name of Viktor Frankl was the pioneer. And the three principles of this are freedom of will to meaning, and meaning in life. So there are ways that you could get help. Okay. You are not alone. You could go to therapy. You could basically find a therapist that, obviously is somebody who is skilled in this particular type of therapy, which can help you, find your meaning and your purpose in life. Okay. Purpose anxiety. This is something I mentioned earlier. So stop searching for purpose. Well, it can cause purpose anxiety. And this goes back to the previous slide. Like, if you're struggling to find your purpose, this is where anxiety could come in. This is where you could develop like some type of mental disorder, the negative ramifications of the struggle for a purpose in life. Most people crave a sense of purpose in life, but nearly always encounter purpose anxiety during their search process, no matter the searcher's age. Purpose anxiety significantly hampers well being. There's many, like, the energy that we have, this anxiety of worry, right? What's behind anxiety is worry. There's first degree worry and second degree worry. Second degree worry is worrying about the worry. And what we could have is, this stored in our body, because the body and the brain are connected. So basically, we could wind up having panic attacks. We could wind up feeling sick. It could really affect us, emotionally, which therefore is going to affect us physically, which can lead to gut issues, which I'm very passionate about, because the gut and the brain are connected, where you could all of a sudden like have leaky gut because you're not taking care of yourself properly, because usually when we're not happy with our lives, we turn to certain things like alcohol, drugs, sex, food, and we're not taking care of ourselves physically, emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually, and then we start to spiral down the rabbit hole. So there is this thing called purpose anxiety. We have to pay attention to that and seek help. So what is passion? So passion is an inclination toward a self-defining activity that one likes. We mentioned art. There's a nice picture of some brushes. I used to grow up, when I was growing up, and I still watch them today on Pluto TV. I don't know if you guys have Pluto TV. It's a streaming service, but we have Bob Ross. I remember as a kid just watching Bob Ross for a half hour, and I loved watching him because he would paint these beautiful paintings within a half hour, and he had this voice. He was like the Ronald McDonald of painting. He had this hair, and he would say, "Oh, there are no mistakes, just happy accidents." He was a great guy. Anyway, I'd recommend, finding YouTube videos with Bob Ross, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. Most have at least one, okay, some passion. They are often formed in adolescence and become self-defining and a part of your identity. Mine tends to be going to the gym. When I was 13 years old, I started lifting weights, and I really enjoyed that. I remember even before that, when I was like 5 or 6, there's pictures of me making muscles and all that. And what pushed me into lifting weights is I kind of got bullied because I was short and Jewish, and I grew up in a not so good neighborhood, and people used to not say nice things to me and racist kind of anti-Semitic things, and that, and I had to protect myself. So it pushed me into weights quicker. But I love going to the gym. Like that's my passion. My passion includes like eating healthy. That's why, and the microbiome and supplements and doing this, why I'm an integrative nutrition coach and why I'm certified in positive psychology. I love this. Now my full-time job, the things that I do, what I'm do is I'm in IT. I also love like electronics and computers and things like that. But my tried and true passion is what I'm doing right now. And I hope that comes across as I'm presenting to you, because I really am passionate about these different subjects, because I really want to teach people these things because it's so important. I just want people to really understand, especially I'm 54 years old. I just realized, like with my kids, I have a 20-year-old and an 18-year-old, and I teach them these concepts. Like I'm always kind of like I sneak it in every now and then. And again, what I said about being an example is I want them to grow up to be, vulnerable young men who are able to express their feelings, be able to, not have, the so-called stigma of that toxic masculinity label, which I don't like. I think it should be, we should change that to uneducated. And that's for everybody. And that's why I'm so passionate about this, about teaching these things, because these concepts and tools, if we would have been taught these things at an earlier age, maybe I wouldn't have gotten a divorce. Maybe my life would have been different because I would have, understood certain things. And I think it's so important that if you have kids who are young adults, that they learn these concepts and tools. Okay. So your purpose doesn't always align with your passions. If you stop being a painter, you can become lost because you thought it was your purpose. I already kind of skip ahead. I already talked about this, but I get so excited because I'm so passionate. Anyway, types of passion. We have harmonious passion. Things are life enhancing and don't interfere with day-to-day tasks. And then we have passion that's obsessive passion. Because so there's two types of passion. One could be good and one could be bad, right? An overwhelming desire to participate in the endeavor triggers pressure and anxiety, right? We have to also bake in self-care when it comes to passion. And that's where, again, if you grew up with a parent who was overbearing and you had like a project as a kid when you were like 4, and they said, "Oh, you're doing it all wrong. You're doing it all wrong." They always said, "Oh, you're doing it all wrong," and they took care of it for you, and didn't let you struggle and give you process praise instead of people praise. Then you might wind up being a person who is geared more towards or leans more towards obsessive passion rather than harmonious passion. So there's a lot that's involved in this, when it comes to our beliefs, our thoughts, our feelings, our actions, and our results. And that's what I teach people. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay. Ikigai, reasons for being. Okay. This is another saying that probably most people never heard of. So, Ikigai consists of 4 different things, which is passion, mission, vocation, and profession. And the thing is, that which you love, that which the world needs, that which you can be paid for, that which you are good at. So for me, being, deciding to become an integrative nutrition coach, also deciding to become a positive psychology coach and creating these brands, this is kind of what I wanted to do, which is my ikigai, which is my passion, my mission, my vocation, and my profession, which I know that I'm good at public speaking. I know that I'm producing something that the world needs. I love it. It doesn't feel like a chore to me because I kind of just, I don't know, the day goes by quick, and I love creating like inspirational posts and, helping people like learn different concepts and tools, especially about, like I said, the gut issues. And I get paid for it, which is awesome. Right. So maybe there's something that falls into all these different categories for you. And it's your reason for being, which is called ikigai. Okay. So, what are the benefits? This is where we have to talk about like curiosity. Like curiosity, you have to become like a cat, right? Curious cat. So, what are the benefits of curiosity? And this is where we have to replace fear of the unknown with curiosity. And again, if you struggle with fear of the unknown, it's because there's these beliefs, these, again, the growth versus fixed mindset, resilience, self-regulate. There's like habits, cue, routine, reward. Like there's so many things that, are in your subconscious with these beliefs. I'm not good enough. What's wrong with me? I did something wrong. Fear of failure, right? Wouldn't it be great if we could, when we're born, there was no fear of the unknown? Like all there was curiosity. Just imagine what the world, I mean, we've created some pretty incredible things in this world, with technologies. I wish we could do a better job of getting them out there. I think there's a lot of, political things behind all that, but we won't go there. We're in election year. But basically, the benefits of curiosity, right? Curiosity results in exploration. Exploration results in discovery. Discovery results in pleasure. Pleasure results in repetition. Repetition results in mastery. Mastery results in new skills. New skills results in confidence. Confidence results in self-esteem. Self-esteem results in sense of security, and sense of security results in more exploration, right? Of course, there's things involved when, if I wanted to, like, I had to spend a lot of money to like go to school, get re-educated. Some people don't have the money to basically pursue their passion, but there's little baby steps. Don't we have to stop making excuses for ourselves. There's things that we could do, especially on the internet with YouTube and all the things that we could explore, especially with AI, that could help us move towards even learning a little bit about what we want to do. And if we start on that path, maybe certain people will come into our life, right, that will help us and be able to get us to where we need to be. But it all starts with, getting rid of the fear of the unknown, which is a myth, doesn't exist in nature. When you look at the squirrels, what do? They get their nuts. You look at dogs, you look at cat, they don't have fear of the unknown. They just live their life and they're living in the moment, right? So we have to get rid of that self-centered fear. Either we're afraid we're going to lose what we have, or we're afraid we're not going to get what we want or need. And we need to learn to live in the moment with curiosity, grace, and be able to go out and pursue the things we want to do and master those things. Okay. So here is a life purpose statement that you could inject or start to use in your life, that you could write on a piece of paper. And what I tell people to do is to write these things down on little sticky notes, and you can hang it on the mirror of your bathroom or wherever you could read it. When I first started this work when I was 22 years old and I was struggling and dealing with a lot of my trauma issues, which again, is the key to this. If you've experienced trauma, you're going to be stuck until you get rid of that trauma. You got to work through the trauma, right? And what I did was I created something called the 9 ingredients of love. And I wrote those, what love meant for me. And I hung them on my refrigerator and I read them morning, noon, and night. And it really helps when you could create, and this has a lot to do with brain work. And I teach people about, the prefrontal cortex, the amygdala, which is your fight, flight, and freeze. Once you have an understanding of that and how you create new neural pathways and neuroplasticity and create a new habit, which is basically shedding an old habit, creating a new one. A habit consists of a cue, a routine, and a reward. Well, really repetition, using deliberate practice by reading something over and over again, or incantations, can really help build up that new neural pathway. Okay. One of the things I recommend is to have people write this down and read it every day. And so this is an example. My purpose is to use my positive psychology and integrated nutrition knowledge to introduce concepts and information so people could be introduced to their higher selves they never knew existed. And you can see the top is what's personal quality. Personal quality. It's like Mad Libs, right? Just fill it in. Expression of quality, impact on the world or other people. Okay. The neuroscience of spiritual belief. Okay. Each part of our brain constructs a different perception of God. People have a concept of God or something. I like to believe in the universe. I look at how the trees breathe, how they breathe out oxygen, and we breathe out carbon dioxide. So they give us oxygen, we give them carbon dioxide. And, I just have a way of like seeing the balance in things. That's what I believe in. But depending on what you believe in, the brain is kind of wired, in this way to have this neuroscience of spiritual belief. Intense long-term contemplation of God or other spiritual values appear to permanently change the structure of those parts of the brain that control our moods. Contemplative practice strengthens a specific neurological circuit that generates peacefulness, social awareness, and compassion for others. So, spiritual practices, perhaps we're wired to be spiritual. Guess what, people? We're all going to find out one day, right? Because there's only two truths in life, death and taxes. So that's going to happen. So, even if you just believe in becoming the best person that you could be, humanistic values, right? Being nice and kind to other people, creating what love means for you. Like for me, the 9 ingredients I mentioned before, for me, my 9 ingredients are sincerity, courtesy, unselfishness, patience, tolerance, humility, good temper, generosity, and being guileless. So, what are your 9 ingredients? Maybe that's something that you could, after this call, something you could write down because it's really important. Again, when we talked about passion, you could have two different types of passion, the harmonious passion, or you could have the other one, right? Which is not good. And if you're doing the other one, you're not really loving yourself because you're stuck in perfectionism. That's not a good place to be. So I created a course called Get Real, Deal, and Heal. And I put in a little thing here, and you could use your phone if you're on a computer, or you could, use your phone to scan that. It'll bring you to it. It's modeled after my own experiences, and these courses help you understand emotional triggers and empowers you to unlock your true authentic self. There's 74 lessons consisting of positive psychology skills and also an option to add one-on-one coaching. And this is like positive psychology. The things that the founder of it is Martin Seligman. Like he's kind of the guy who, there were people before it. It's kind of a combination of humanistic and cognitive based therapies. But we talk about different topics, different things that I covered in some of this, in this presentation that fall into like the meaning section. That's kind of some of the things I teach, that's in this course, that's in the meaning part of what they teach you in positive psychology. But there's positivity, engagement, relationships, achievement, and vitality. Okay. So, my course, I mentioned one thing, self-centered fear. I mentioned perfectionism. There's also the third, I like to call it a unrealistic behavioral pattern, or a behavioral pattern, a negative behavioral pattern that's not so good. I believe, most of us do these three, or all of us do these three, some more than others. And behind these three negative behavioral patterns are those beliefs that I mentioned earlier. And there's three antidotes that I created for these three negative beliefs. So for self-centered fear, it's basically learning to live in the moment, right? Afraid you're going to lose what you have, afraid you're not going to get what you want or need. Driving force is worry. You're not going to find your passion if you're stuck in those things, right? You have to learn to live in the moment, which consists of mindfulness. Unrealistic expectations, right? Is another one that we have on people, places, and things. What is the antidote for that? Gratitude. It's pretty hard to have unrealistic expectations when you have gratitude. And lastly, perfectionism, which is the one that's really difficult. We really tend to be hard on ourselves. That's where we have that fixed mindset. It's really learning to love yourself, learning to become comfortable within the depths of your being where you are actually your true authentic self. Okay. Created a transformational toolkit that could help. And then there's long game coaching, questions, and things that could help. For being on this, presentation with me, I always like to give people the benefit, a little gift for taking the time to come to these webinars. So, I'm giving a code, Zen50, a coupon code. So if you were used to use the code Zen50, it would take $100 off of this course, which is self-paced. It's a self-paced course that you could go at your own speed, and you could get it for $249. I also, again, another thing that I do, I am an integrative nutrition coach. Again, I told you that I kind of combine, some people are athletes like me. I know how to eat right. I know how to exercise. So for me, the Get Real Deal and Heal course would be something that I would need. If I was somebody who also didn't know how to eat right, or it felt like I was taking a lot of medications and I'm overweight and I'm not doing well, maybe you need to go to nutritional wellness support programs, which is the beginners, the motivator, or the holistic goal, which includes the Get Real Deal and Heal course. And there's three different options here. And these are the things that I take care of. I could prescribe certain gut zoomer tests, which are like, you know, DNA tests that could really help somebody understand whether they have leaky gut, which could be mimicking some of the symptoms that they have that they're taking medications for, and they just don't realize it because they were never taught. And it's not the gastroenterologist's fault. It's not the internal medicine's fault and doctor's fault. They just weren't taught. So you need to come to resource like these meetings. And whole reason why I created Holistic Well Care Advisors, because I was one of those people who 15 years ago healed my leaky gut, and because they thought I had Epstein-Barr, they thought I had this, they thought I had that, and just gave me prednisone and all these drugs. And I was like, I'm sick and tired. I'm done. The person who I was with at the time went to a conference, brought back this big packet on functional medicine, which wasn't as, prominent today. And, within 3 months, I lost like 15 pounds. I went on an elimination diet. I learned that the foods that I was sensitive to, that I had the gene for celiac, that I had a mutation, that I didn't, actually break down vitamin B12 properly, that I need to take the processed vitamin B12. And slowly but surely, like within 3 months, I felt better. My energy came back. I lost weight. I was just a happier person. Again, the gut brain connection. Most people don't even realize that most of your neurotransmitters, especially serotonin, is produced in your gut. So this is another option as well. Okay. I also have a book that I wrote, and this has some of my Get Real Deal and Heal course in it, and that's on Amazon. If you're interested in reading and you like to read, it'll have my kind of my life story and my struggles and how I transformed into this type of work, and getting into this type of uh, I should say passion, right, and purpose in life. I believe that we're born with a certain purpose, and it's up to us to find it. And luckily, I found it later and a little later in life, but I found it, you know. And then I believe everything again happens in perfect timing for us, and we have to just really continue to keep practicing, the qualities of patience, compassion, trust, and surrender. Slowly but surely, we'll get there. But again, it's an action word. Purpose is action. You got to do the work, okay, or you're just going to be stuck. I also do coaching. So if you're interested in this, you could scan that as well. I'll do $60 per hour, which is usually I charge $125, but I'm going to give 60% off for people who are interested in maybe doing one-on-one coaching. I think I set it at 75 right now, so I'll have to go and manipulate that. So if that's something you're interested in, you could DM me, and you also could click on this and it'll bring it to the page where you could book an appointment, and we'll handle it. It's not a big deal for me to give $15 back or refund $15 if it's set up that way, or I'll just give you a specific code and we'll be good to go there. And that's kind of it. I went through this pretty quickly because I like to leave time for questions, comments. I want this to be interactive. This is my link tree, and I have a bunch of other things on there if you're interested, as far as like supplements and other things that I offer. So if you want to scan that, you can. And I love this comment, I should say mantra. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. So really, when you're looking in the mirror, I want you to remember this. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. I can remember so many times when I was down and out as a teenager throughout my years. I must have done it, even in therapy. I must have said this phrase, I'm capable of so much more, at least 50 times in my life. That's why the name of my book is You're Capable of So Much More. So you're capable of so much more. It's just a question of you taking action. Okay. building up your eudaimonic muscle, right? Of course, we're going to have the hedonic. We need that, but that's always a temporary pleasure. We need to build up the hedonic muscle. Okay. So with that, I am going to stop sharing and see where we are here. I'm going to go look at the chat because I think there is a chat. Okay. Oh, that was Robert's before. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to unmute people and we are going to open this up for discussion and see if people have everything they want to say. Questions, comments, concerns, anybody?
Great presentation, Dan. Hell yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gene?
Thank you for the presentation.
No
I
problem,
enjoyed
Gene.
it. You
Yeah.
highlighted the challenges pretty well.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Searching.
Ingrid, did you want to say something?
What? Oh, did you just talk to me?
Yeah, I saw people who are unmuted, so I figured they want to speak. If you didn't
Actually,
want to, that's okay.
and I was wondering, how long did it take you to find your passion? And it sounds like some of your journey was out of helping yourself, like in healing yourself.
Took a while. I mean, I was like a late bloomer. So for me, I've been in IT for over 30 years. And when I was let go in 2018 from a job after 11 years, and at that time I was already certified in yoga. And I was already, found like my spiritual foundation. It was almost like the last thing that I really needed to work on and to learn how to breathe and meditate. And I was just sitting on my couch and I basically, the word Yomenga came to my mind, which is the word men in between the word yoga. And I grew up with a absent father, and I said, what can I create in this world? Like I when I was 16, I would watch Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, Tony Robbins. Like I bought his cassette tapes. Like I've always been into this, introspective. And I said, wow, these are the things that I really love, and it's time for me to embrace this. And that's when it all started, when I was 48 in 2018. And,
Mm-hmm.
plan on doing it for the rest of my life. So it could happen at any age. It wasn't that I was like miserable. I was fine with IT, because I enjoy computers and stuff, but it didn't light me up. It doesn't light me up. Like I hope that my passion came across as I was doing the presentation. I really enjoy this stuff. So it's like, I want people to, find what they really enjoy, and be passionate about it, because it just adds a different perspective onto your life, as far as, your purpose and why you're here, and I think the important thing is, like, for me, is that it's about giving back. Like the things that I've realized, that the things that I went through, have made me the person that I am, and I have to share this. That's why I wrote the book, because I want people, if that book could help, other people, find their purpose in life, or by me creating like a Facebook post that inspires people, that I post in the Energy Hub, or, other sites, and they thank me for it. It's about the ripple effect. It's like maybe that person will go out and do something nice for someone else, right? And it's the only way we're going to hopefully make this world a better place. I'm hoping the younger generations, like my son, who's 20 and 18, they're more inclusive and they're starting to see things a little differently. But, you know, every little thing, every little bit that we can do, I assume, helps. So I hope that answers your question, Ingrid.
Yeah, thanks.
Anybody else? And then, this doesn't have to be about the topic I shared. Like if there's other things you want to ask or talk, this meetup group isn't just about me; it's also about you. I could always give you back your time, because I just appreciate you being on here. But if nobody else wants to, speak, we could all go have dinner and do what we need to do with our lives. Even though you ate already, Robert. Hope you had something good.
I can eat again. I only had half the rack. I got another half.
Got another rack of ribs.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, nice. Well, you cleaned up well. Um, Anybody else have any comments, questions, announcements? I have an announcement for next week. Next week we have a returning guest speaker. I don't always do these. Again, if you know people who are in the holistic space who want to promote themselves, on the reason why I promote my work here is one, it's a good forum to do so. Two, when you try and do it on the Facebook groups, they say no spamming, no this, no that. And one of the reasons why I wanted to create this meetup group too is to give people in the holistic space an opportunity to promote themselves, so they could get clients, so they could, do what they want to do. And Robert has been a guest speaker. And Robert, if you want to do another speaking thing, we could talk again, because it's, you probably would like to do that. I have somebody coming next week who talked about psilocybin, and she's in Oregon where it's legal. And she's gonna next Thursday, she's going to do another presentation on that. So I hope to see you people there. We have some other people coming on. You go into the meetup group and see, what things are coming up. So if you're around on 7 o'clock Eastern time, whatever time zone you're in, I do these on Thursdays. So if you know anybody who's looking to promote themselves, please send them my way. All right. Well, everybody, I guess I am going to say good night then, and thank you again for attending this meeting. And, if you did copy that Linktree thing, I do have a free 15-minute consultation. So if you do want to talk some more, please reach out to me. Okay. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you for attending.
Take care, Dan. Thank you.
Okay. You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Bye bye.